Ram Ram
Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram Ram सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम
जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम
जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम
जय सिया राम जय जय सिया
बोलो राम 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 राजा राम
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 जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम
जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम
जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम
जय सिया
राम जय जय सिया राम
बोलो राम 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 सीता 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 राम
बोलो राम
राम सीता राम जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम
जय सिया राम जय
जय सिया राम
सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय।
Hari Om. On behalf of Chinmaya Mission UK, a very warm welcome to the third day of our Sundarkand Yagna. A couple of short housekeeping announcements before we begin. Firstly, can I ask you to all to check that your mobile phones are switched off? And secondly, please note that the fire exits are on both the left and right-hand side of this hall. We have designated fire marshals with high-vis jackets who will guide you to the car park across the road in the unlikely event of an emergency. Thank you. Hari Om.
जनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् निजमनमुकुरसुधारि वर्णो रघुवरविमलजसु जोदायक फलचारि
बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। तात स्वर्ग अपवर्ग सुख धरी तुला एक अंग तुलनता ही सकल मिली जो सुख लव सत्संग। If you read, in fact, any scripture of the world, the emphasis on the company of those who know the truth, Sant, the company of those who are seekers of the truth, Satsang, is essential for our spiritual growth. In fact, even in our daily lives, it is the spiritual knowledge that gives us the wisdom, the strength to face the different life situations. To act rightly in our life and to prevent us from doing those actions which bring us sorrow, that support group where we gain inspiration, where we come to know not only what is right and wrong, what is the truth and what is the untruth. And besides that, get the encouragement. We talk about children or even teenagers, and adults are more under peer pressure. How the peers affect us. And therefore, it is so important to have peers who are on the spiritual path. Therefore, emphasis on satsang. Even those during the pandemic time, those of you heard the talks on Bhaja Govindam, outthinking uncertainty. In Bhaja Govindam itself, Shankaracharya points out that satsangatve nissangatvam, nissangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nischalatatvam, nischalatatve jivan mukti. So from satsang only the ladder can be climbed to jivan mukti, liberation here and now in life. Most people understand liberation as after you die, the sorrows will come to an end. Or when you go to heaven, your sorrows will come to an end. Or moksha is some post-mortem liberation where after which you are never born again to suffer. These are the notions we have. But don't we all at this moment want to be free to be happy? But our happiness today is conditioned by how many factors? Look at it. So moksha is not something post-mortem, moksha is not some mystical freedom. Moksha is freedom to be happy. And how many of us can say that in the next 1 hour, I will be happy? Because our happiness is conditioned by so many factors. Therefore, see what Lankini says to Hanumanji, that tat swarga apavarga sukha dhariye tula ek anga. That all the happiness that is gained in heaven as well as in moksha, the joy that you get here and now. And are you not all happy here in satsang? Some people get miserable. Yeah. Because they think satsang means somebody will just pat their back and say, Dado sutho. Changa hai, you know. You're very good, very good. Satsang is where our intellect, if it has got any misapprehensions, wrong notions, negative thinking, and whenever something is crooked, to straighten it, you need to hammer it. And satsang actually means when our intellect, which has become crooked, gets blow and you feel this was for me. Not that you tell your husband or your children or your wife, see, you heard what Swamiji said? And people don't want to be corrected. You know that even your children. But a true Santa is not here to spoil us, pamper us. But real love is that we are shown the way for eternal happiness here and now. And that too also not dependent, but we are free to be happy. That is called as satsang. And even though in this story, Lankini said that, oh, thieves are my food. And Hanumanji gave her one blow. And blood oozed out. And she got up and became so sensible. Isn't it? So you wonder what happened suddenly. But in this world it is like saying, लाते हुए भूत बातों से नहीं मानते. Until unless you discipline them, you whip them, and you and people will follow that. But the saints have come to liberate us, to make us independent in our thinking. And independent in our thinking doesn't mean that we become argumentative, doubting. That we independently think what the scriptures and the Guru has guided us into. And we discover for ourselves. So as I said, looks like a very simple story, we enjoy listening to it. But the significance of these stories are far more, which is revealed to us only when we contemplate on it. So that is the glory of satsang. And in Bhaja Govindam, 3 places Shankaracharya emphasizes. Satsangatve nisangatvam. Trijagati sajjana sangati reka bhavati bhavarnava tarane nauka. That in this world, not only in this world, but even in heaven and hell, it is the company of saints and sages that takes us across like a boat with safety across the ocean of sorrow. That's why in the Mahabharata also, when everybody questioned why Yudhishthir was taken to hell, well, Duryodhan seems to be sitting in heaven. Yeah? But when Yudhishthir entered hell, everybody said, stay back here. Because your presence itself is so comforting. Yeah? This is called as satsang. And even hell is not a place where saints will not go to help people. Therefore, Trijagati Sajjana Sangati Reka Bhavati Bhavarnava Tarane Nauka, that Bhagwan has sent Hanuman to Lanka, because when people live in mere sensuality, depression, dejection, greed, wars, conflict, all this happens. If that's not hell, then what is hell? And in the sadhanas that are to be practiced, he clearly says, Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram Dhyeyam Shripati Rupam Ajasram Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam. That take your mind in the beginning to satsang. You have to take it. You have to lead it. And once that mind is inspired, it will lead you. But that mind which moves in the wake of the senses in impermanent pleasures is like a rudderless boat without a captain. A rudderless boat without a captain. Wherever the wind will take it, and sometimes crash it in a storm or against a rock. Therefore, she says that Jo Sukha Lava Satsang, that happiness that we gain even in a moment of satsang. I think something is happening to the sound. That is why all saints, and particularly our Gurudev, emphasized on, if not daily satsang, at least once a week you must do satsang. Now there are satsang where people just go and sing, which is also satsang. But where you gain the knowledge of the truth, where you can contemplate, where you can remove your own ignorance. Do you know how much important that is? Because most people go to temple, church, mosque, or even to various satsangs just to get a temporary peace of mind, which in any satsang you will get. Yeah? Wherever the name of the Lord is chanted, wherever people remembering the Lord are there, devoted to the Lord are there. And therefore all this is satsang. But there where you get that knowledge that removes your misapprehensions, misassociations, misconceptions about yourself, your purpose in life, your relationship with God, that satsang is the highest. And therefore, that which gives a blow to your intellect, kumati nivara sumati ke sangi. On your own also, you can read the scripture and think that you know it all. But it's only when you are in company of people who question, who inquire, or in the company of great masters who can diffuse our ego in a second by asking just one question. But that 1 minute of satsang, where our intellect makes a U-turn. If we see what Shivalinga is, U-turn. That satsang, that minute, that second, that bliss that you experience is not that prolonged, distant bliss that you think is promised to you. See, such a depth is there in just this. She blessed Hanumanji, Prabhasi Nagar ki jay sab kaja, Hridaya rakhi Kosalapur Raja. Now you see, whether it was Sursa, whether it was Lankani, said, go do the Lord's work, but always keep the Lord in your heart whenever you do anything. Because once this ego comes in, the Lord goes out. I was sitting with one Mahatma and he told me, he said, do you know why mango is the sweetest fruit? Because when man goes, God comes. Woman too, huh? And this story is being narrated by Garud to Kangbhushanji to Garud. And he says, Garud is telling to Kangbhushanji that where the Lord is remembered, nothing is impossible. And gives many examples of that. That the smallest can achieve the greatest. Poison can become nectar. And we've seen not even, in the epics, Vish ka pyala rana ne beja, piyat meera nachire, pag gunguru bandh meera nachire. Even for Meera, that poison became nectar. For Shivji, it became Neelakantha, adorned, an adornment. So, now when Hanumanji enters Lanka, he went from house to house jumping, mandir.
मंदिर मंदिर प्रतिकर शोधा देखे जहता अगणित जोधा गयउ दसानन मंदिर माहि अति विचित्र कहीं जात सुनाहि शयन किए देखा कपि तेहि मंदिर महु नदी की बैदेहि भवन एक पुनि दीख सुहावा हरि मंदिर का भिन्न बनावा रामायुध अंकित ग्रह शोभा बरणी न जाई नव तुलसिका वृंदतः देखी हर्ष कपिराई।
मंदिर मंदिर प्रति करी शोधा। Mandir, mandir, mandir also means house to house. And mandir is the house of Bhagwan also, so it's called as mandir. It's the house of God. So when we say there is Ram Mandir, this is the house of Ramchandraji. Also, some people say that this Ravan had all his houses as a, what they call decoy? So that if anybody came to bomb, no, it's mandir, it's a religious place, don't do it. All of them were disguised as though as a mandir, but I think that's a little bit far-fetched. But from house to house, building to building, he searched for Mother Sita, dekhe jahan taha aganita jodha, and saw everywhere these mighty warriors. Because Lanka was constantly at war. There are some countries, they're constantly at war. Because restless. And Lanka was constantly at war. So he saw plenty of warriors everywhere. Gayau dasas nana mandir mahi ati vichitra kahi jat so nahi. He went into the palace of even Ravan, the 10-headed Ravan. And in fact, it could not be described as how unique, how magnificent his palace might be looking. And there were peculiar things also there. Sayan kiye dekha kapitehi mandir mahu na dikhi vaidehi. So he saw Dasanand sleeping there, but he didn't find Vaidehi. And again, the choice of words of Goswamiji. The daughter of Videha Raja. Janak Maharaj was known to be that king who had no body consciousness. And even though ruling the kingdom, he never thought anything was his. And that truly is the ruler of the kingdom. Nothing was his. And she is the daughter of Videha Raja. He never found that Videhi, that Sita, who is beyond this body. Bhavan ek puni dikha suhava, Hari mandir tah binna banawa. And there, while going from the palace of Ravan, in that city, he saw a unique house in which there was Hari Mandir. And there, Rama Yudha Ankit Griha Shobha Bharani na Jai. It had emblems of Ramchandraji. Because some places, nowadays there are a ban of emblems also. And here it was Ram Ayudha Ankita. So bow and arrow. So nobody would understand because all these Rakshasas have bow and arrow, but bow and arrow is the sign of Ramchandraji. And Navatulsi ka Vrindataha. And there saw a fresh, nurtured tulsi. Tulsi grows wild also, but a nurtured tulsi. And Kapirai, Hanumanji, found great joy because Lanka Nisichara Nikara Nivasa, Yaha kaha sajjan karbasa. He found great joy that here also there must be some devotee of the Lord. But he wondered that in this place, Lanka, full of these highly extroverted, sensuous Rakshasas, can there be a devotee of the Lord? Man maha tarak karai kapilaga tehi samay vibhishan jaga. This portion is so beautiful for all those sadhakas who think that they're in the wrong place. Yeah. They'll always say, in this very, metropolitan city of luxuries and, and all people in this corporate world, I'm in the wrong place. Don't you think I should go to an ashram? I know there only we can practice spirituality, not in these places. Then go to the ashram, no? But then they will say, but how can I've got duties. But in my family also, nobody is spiritual. How can I practice? Then leave, no? How can I leave family? In this Sundarkand, so many bhaktas are there. So many devotees are there. And how Bhagwan sends his sant, his messenger, the Guru, wherever we are and we are doing our sadhana to whatever capacity we can do in the present situation of our life. Otherwise, even if a saint were in front of us, do you think we recognize? People go up to Mahatmas and say, where can I find a Guru? Isn't it? Very unique is this world. If you are sincere, the Guru will find you. If you are not sincere, Guru might be there living in your house, you will not recognize. Because your family members you take for granted only, no? Oh, Swamiji, I think, my grandson who's born, no? Your blessings. He's going to be the Guru of the family. Where are we going to search for a Guru? The story of Vibhishan is so unique, so beautiful. That in midst of this luxurious Lanka, call it Hong Kong, Tokyo, New York, London, even there, Bhagwan has always put someone there. And we should not make excuses of time, space, environment. There's never a time. Another beautiful thing also, that when you are devoted, you're not ashamed. You're not afraid. The signs of a devotee and the presence of the Lord in his heart and in his house will somehow be seen. Today, people will have bars in their houses. People will have cherry blossoms, but not tulsi. Now, here's cold climate, we understand tulsi is a tropical plant, but basil grows. Not just to make Thai curry. Cousin of tulsi, but at least can remind you. So he saw the signs of a devotee. And therefore, in your house, outside your house, don't be ashamed. I remember once we were lost somewhere and we just couldn't find the direction. No? And because we saw one little Ganesha on the house, you could confidently go and knock that door. And when the person opened the door and sees a sadhu, they will welcome that sadhu, is it not? Yeah? And you can also confidently go there, suddenly they don't look at you and say, which alien has come? That's why keep some symbols, keep some presence in your house. We have place for bars, but not for a temple. He saw these signs and wondered that in Lanka also there is some devotee. And he goes, probably stands in his veranda and peeps. And he's not a peeping Tom though. And he peeps and wonders, Man mah tarak karai kapilaga. In his mind he was thinking, is this also some form of decoy? At that time, tehi samay Vibhishana jaga. That moment Vibhishan woke up. So it was still very, very early dawn. And Vibhishan woke up. Now, if he was a Nisichara, those who stay up late at night, nightclubs and bars and all that. Funny thing is, people in satsang, if they stay up late also, morning they are up early. Because they don't need that much sleep. So early in the Brahma Muhurat, he is awake. Vibhishan jaga. Ram Ram tehi sumiran kina hridaya harsha kapi sajjan china. And first thing he got up, and by which Hanumanji was sure that this is a devotee of the Lord. That first thing he got up in the morning, he said, I don't feel like getting up, Monday blues, go back to sleep. Or, where's my cup of tea? First thing comes in the mind is chai, tea, coffee. No? The sign that you are a devotee is that the first thought when you get up in the morning and the first words that will come out of your mouth will be the name of the Lord. And it is possible only when you have slept taking the name of the Lord. Because your last thought becomes your first thought. He was sure this is Bhagwan's. Ehi sana hat karahi pahichani sadhu te hoi na kara jahani. He said, for sure I must know him and introduce myself. And a very beautiful statement here. Sadhu te hoi na kara jahani. That from a good person, a sadhu, a devoted person, there will be no obstacle, no impediment in your work. Which means if you call yourself to be a good person, don't put spanner in other people's wheel. Sadhu te hoi na kara jahani. Vipra rupa dhari bachana sunaye, sunat Vibhishan uthita aaye. A learned Brahmin, Hanuman this guy, was suddenly you open the door and you see a huge vanar, an ape there, or ape-like person there, you would get frightened. Yeah. So he took that form and Vibhishan and started speaking, singing the glories of Ramchandraji. When Vibhishan heard, immediately he came outside in the veranda. Kari pranam puchi kusalai, vipra kaho nij katha bujai. Seeing that a holy person has come there early in the morning, he bowed down to him, folded his hand, and he says, please tell me about yourself. But even before Hanumanji could introduce himself and would wonder, should I reveal who I am? Vibhishan already has started beginning to feel. There's some people who just we meet, we make a connection right away. We have confidence, we have faith, even if it may be a stranger. Ki tum hari dasana mah koi, more hridaya preeti ati hoi. He says, are you some sevak, some devotee, some servant of the Lord? Because meeting you, I'm feeling a sense of great joy. It's not like, when you meet someone and say, why is this person here? Mohi hridaya preeti ati hoi. And see, Vibhishan begins to recognize, Ki tum Rama Dina Anuragi? The joy that I'm feeling in my heart, is it that my Ram, who loves and comes to those who are helpless, are you my Ram who has come here? Ayo mohi karana badbagi. That you have come to bless me, to make me blessed. Because when we meet the devotee, in the devotee's heart is the Lord. And it is like meeting the Lord himself. So he says, I'm feeling that kind of a joy that I'm meeting my beloved Lord himself. So is that my Lord has come to me in this form? Tab Hanumant kahi sab Ram katha nij naam. So he told the entire story of Ramchandra ji and how the Vanars have met Ramchandra ji and told his own name, that I am Hanuman. Sunat jugal tan pulak mana magana sumera gunagram. Even in Narad Bhakti Sutra I said that when two devotees meet each other, their body in horripilation, their throat choked, with tears in their eyes, again and again embracing each other. And that was the feeling when two devotees meet. For Hanumanji in a foreign country, that too also in a place like Lanka, meeting a devotee, can you imagine? And where he can't find Sita, his joy and his sense of blessedness. And can you imagine Vibhishan, the joy in his heart, that a devotee of the Lord has come to me. And he says, Sunahu pavan sutta rahani hamari, jimi das nahi maha jeeba bichari. He says, E pavan sutta, listen to how I am living in this Lanka. He says, my condition is like this poor bichara, this bichari jeeb, this poor tongue in the midst of these 32 hard teeth. Have you ever thought, when children also say, how do I know God is there? Because they hear from their parents, doubts or whatever it is, or they learn in school, to believe in everything else. But God, I must question. Can you imagine with what precision, what alertness, without even you thinking about it, this tongue has to every second while you are speaking, while you are eating, while it slips the food into your teeth and before your teeth chop it, it has to protect itself. And sometimes, when you're over anxious, you bite your tongue, and can you imagine how painful that is? What similes our saints have given. He says that my condition is like this tongue in midst of these 32 hard teeth. But Hanumanji liked this example because this soft, komal tongue, which sometimes we use such harsh, crude, obnoxious, hurting words. And that is the time they say, bite your tongue. The tongue by nature is komal, so soft, so delicate, and therefore our words must always be, even when you are scolding someone, they must be so gentle, so soft, even though firm to correct, that it must be according to the swabhava of the tongue that Bhagwan has given you. And how Vibhishan had to, if you contemplate on this example, he did not go on lashing, you sinners, you're going to be damned. How carefully this tongue has to remain between the teeth. But Hanumanji liked this example because this soft, gentle tongue can go to the dentist and say, remove these teeth. And eventually, as you grow older, the teeth will fall off, but the tongue will remain forever, as long as you live, is it not? See, one metaphor or simile that has been given. No? So this is my way I am living in this Lanka. Ab mohi ba barosa Hanumanta, binu hari kripa milai nahi santa. He says, tamas tanu kachu sadhana nahi, priti na pad saroja manamahi. He says, I am born in a tamasic sharir, and I mind you, everybody's body is tamas only. If you have studied Tattva Bodh, from the tamasic aspect of the elements is this body born. Therefore, it has always a tendency to want to rest. And Nishachar Sharir, only for pleasures it gets excited and then goes back to sleep. And that too also tamasic pleasures. Eat to sleep, like Kumbhakaran. And if you don't get sleep, you drink to go to sleep. He says, tamasa tanu, kachu sadhana nahi. In this tamasic sharir, in this tamasic environment, kachu sadhana nahi. What sadhan can I do? But whatever little he could do, he did. Priti na pad saroja manamahi. In my mind, there is not even enough love for the lotus feet of the Lord. He didn't say there's not enough money now, how am I going to sit and pray? There's no love in my heart. How can even I expect that even my presence would be noted by Bhagwan. But ab mohi ba barosa Hanumanta, binu hari kripa milai nahi santa. How much of our life, having got such opportunity, people have wasted. He says, ab mohi bha bharosa Hanumanta. Oh Hanuman, now I have this faith that binu hari kripa milai nahi santa. That without hari kripa, without the blessings, without the compassion of the Lord, we cannot have the company of a devotee, company of a saint. Mile nahi santa. Jo Raghubir anugrah kina, to tum moha darasa hati dina. It is because Bhagwan has blessed me that you have come to me. And throughout Ramayana you will see that those who had the darshan of Bhagwan before, later on they have Sant darshan. Because to know the greatness of the Lord you require Sant. And those who have Sant darshan must know that Bhagwan is coming. So I know that Bhagwan has blessed me. Now Vibhishan is thinking, and that should be the humility, not that, I have done so many mala japa, I have done so many puja, and I know so much chanting, and I have done so much this thing, and I have given so many lectures, and I have got so many devotees. As much as sadhana we do, mind you, even countless lifetimes of countless mantra japas are only limited in time and space and your ability. Not by any of our sadhana can we demand the Lord to come to us. Because no amount of finite can bring us the infinite. The infinite comes with its own grace. That's why in school also we call grace marks, no? Yeah. But you've got 0 marks and you expect grace marks. Yeah. You at least get 20 marks. Then only the teacher can give you another grace marks to make you pass, right? So he says, I am just a nobody. In fact, I am this Nishichar, brother, Ravan's brother. But look at what Hanumanji says. Sunahu Bibhishan Prabhu ke riti karai sada sevak par priti. He says, and these are words that you must note. People read the Ramayana, they know the story, I am devoted to the Lord. Sunahu Vibhishan Prabhu ke riti. Vibhishan, know this, that this is the love, the law, the wishes of the Lord. Karahi sada sevak par priti. That Bhagwan always loves his sevak. You can say, I love you, तुम्हें आना भी होगा, तुम्हें आना भी होगा, और जब प्रभु घर पे आते हैं तो you are absent. Yeah? You are busy entertaining guests. Crying, singing is not the essence. It gives devotion. It's not the proof of devotion. The sheer proof of love is that you are ready to, ever ready to give and serve. That is the evidence. Otherwise, if you say, my devotee is dear to me, that's why in Gita also Krishna says, which devotee? just by putting vibhuti or chandan in this manner, that manner, or going on singing, does not necessarily mean that you love. But if you love, you will always serve. And sevak par priti. And if you say that Bhagwan has blessed you, and we two have come together, then you must have in some way served the Lord. And in this condition, living in such a materialistic world, and if you have still served in some manner or the other, know that Bhagwan will never abandon his sevak. He says, Kaho kavan mein param kulina, kapi chanchal sabahi vidihina. And in Hanuman Chalisa, as you know, there's that portion, Tumro mantra vibhishan mana, Lankeshwar bhai, sab jag jana. Vibhishan, when he looks at himself, and especially the sign that you are a devotee and you're a spiritual person is you stop criticizing and finding faults in others. Yeah. Faults are there, you correct them. But finding fault, dwelling on the faults of others. In fact, when Bhagwan tells Shabri about Navidha Bhakti, the 9 forms of devotion, he says, Sapne hu nahi dekhai par dosha. A devotee is one who in his dream also does not see the faults of others. So naturally, as Kabir Das ji says, Bura jo dekhan main chala, bura na milya koi, jo man khoja apna, mujhse bura na koi. When I went to find out a perfectly bad, evil person, I found none. Okay, everybody has some goodness in them. But when I saw into my own heart, and who can peep into my heart than me, I found there's no one as worse as me. And that is why people fear introspection. We'll do japa, tapa, tirth yatra, go from one place to another place, etc. But sab ghat tirat hai man andar. Devotees, yogis, they examine their mind. Read the life of any devotee, saint and sage. Read any of the introductory books of Pujya Gurudev. He has emphasized, even in the book Meditation and Life, what are people trying to learn meditation if you have not learned how to introspect and watch your mind? Even mantra japa is that you quieten your mind so that your negativities of your mind will be vomited out and thrown out. That even a Ratnakar Daku becomes a Valmiki when he first realizes, what have I done with my life? And what is or who is my only savior in life? The moment Valmiki, Ratnakar Daku was made to reflect and introspect that for whom am I committing all these sins? Who is there to protect me? Will any family member also partake of my sins, or even in this life abandon me? And what all have I done in the name of my family or for myself? The day we introspect, that day the change is going to come. Others, many times people say, people do so much worship, etc. Why no change has come? Why in the name of religions, so many atrocities some of them have done? These are very important things. I told you Sundarkand is for sadhakas. On one side, to know that whatever little sadhana you are doing with devotion, the fact that a sant comes into your life and you get satsang, that itself is the greatest blessings. Otherwise, like a typical person who meets you in the lift and was remembering you in the morning and was thinking that I've not met you for a long time, meets you in the lift or an escalator or somewhere and says, "Oh my God! This morning only I was thinking of you. And here you are. I wish I would have asked for something else." Even the statements that you make, I've heard that many times. And I really wonder, were they really thinking something good about me? Because they wish they saw someone else. And see what Vibhishan, to be living in Lanka and be devoted without being either tempted or frightened. So, you're a Hindu. I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. Arey Ramadoota mein. Everything you get from God, everything you pray to God and get, then in the other, no, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Yes, you are very spiritual. Spirit मार के आया है और क्या? Stop the hypocrisy. All this I'm explaining is Vibhishan. Don't worry, I'm not telling anything bad to you. You are all devotees. This is to encourage and see how encouragement comes. That Vibhishan recognizes that even though tamasic sharir, even though in a place like Lanka, which is absolutely unspiritual, unreligious, in fact anti-God, where people are doing such atrocious things, living such a sensuous life, that you go and kidnap, the king goes and kidnaps somebody else's wife. There also Bhagwan has sent a devotee. In our sadhana also sometimes we want to see signs. But which signs we are looking for is that, my problems will come to an end. Or I'll make more money. A sant came in our life, that itself shows that Bhagwan has noticed our sadhana. However defective we might think it is. And this is what now Hanumanji is saying. Sunahu Vibhishan Prabhu ke riti karai sada sevak par priti. That Bhagwan always shows his love and affection to his sevak. And this affection is not by saying, "Oh, good beta, you did a lot of good work." Not always, sometimes. But never goes unnoticed by the Lord. And its reward is not some things that we want is either appreciation, etc. And this I know from my own experience. And some of you would also have experienced this. When I was reading the books of knowledge, different books I read. Naturally, the sheer logic, the clear exploration, the spirit of clarity, and even reasoning. That time I didn't know who Swami Chinmaya was. I was just seeking, and I was also living in Lanka. Bombay is also Lanka. Hong Kong is also Lanka. Lanka is not where demons live, please. Living in both of these metropolitan cities, marketplace of, of wealth, both these places, New York, all these places, the big metropolitan cities are all like that. When I was reading the books, and then of course I came across Gurudev's books, and I was reading it, and finally, it was making a lot of sense, and I could understand it, I could reason with it, even though I was not defiant, but I was not a blind believer, nor I was a blind non-believer. Both are blind anyway. Yeah. When I was reading Gurudev's books, and then whatever I learned, I tried to digest, and as much as in midst of those hectic schedules, what really speaking, it's like you just, probably so small that you can't even recognize if something has been done. All I can say is I sincerely read the book, nothing else. And look, I only am given posters to go and put of Swami Chinmayananda. He comes into town. That time I had not read all these things, I didn't know. I go to listen to him. The very first day, all my doubts that I was carrying for years, highly philosophical doubts, got cleared in one session. There was no means to easily reach because it was on the other shore. By the time Gurudev came next, the metro was built. I don't know for whom, but for me, definitely the bridge from Kowloon to Hong Kong was built. Yeah? What do you doubt that it happened? The metro started just 1 month before Gurudev came back to Hong Kong. So when I see all this, what is this? This is an eternal story. And I, for 2 years, listened to him. Would sit behind, make my notes, reflect on it, try to understand. Then I found out that there were study groups, Gita study groups. Went and joined. Just being a part of CHIC, naturally, some little work was given, just little. That also sometimes people think a lot. Yeah. Just to maybe conduct a seminar or something like that. The next trip Gurudev comes. Yeah. Immediately, all the organizers will invite whom? We were invited to every Bhiksha, every question answer session, every private section. Some of you also must have experienced this. It's not like I'm telling my story, it will be your story also. No? And these are signs to encourage us that Bhagwan has come to take us. Bhagwan has come to guide us. How many people just accidentally stand at the door to pick up someone and how they get dragged in and then becomes such sevaks for life. And some people having got opportunity for seva also. Shudder away. Opportunity lost. So here he says, so see the importance of satsang. The importance of doing your sadhana whatever you can. In midst of all difficult situations, even more, even if you don't practice, that's why I say in Kali Yuga, where there are so many temptations, so many difficulties, so many challenges, and the environment itself is very evil you may say, if there we are able to do even just a little sadhana, a little aspiration, Bhagwan's blessings come, that even in this Kali Yuga, in fact better in Kali Yuga, that sadhus, saints come to our doorstep. Hanuman has come to the doorstep of Vibhishan. And here Vibhishan thinks, Meli chadar od ke kaise dwar tumhare यहाँ. How can I, even shameful as I am of myself, even think I'm even fit to call out to the Lord to come to me, or even go to the Lord, leave alone, like people do, demand that you should have come and, Bhagwan is our servant. I prayed to you and you did not give me promotion in my job. Now I don't believe in you. You think Bhagwan cares? Arey Baba, this tricky mind of ours, no? We call ourselves devotees, but what is devotion? Learn from Vibhishan. Learn from devotees. Yeah? Otherwise, little seva we do, and I don't know what we expect. Another fattening of our ego. In Narad Bhakti Sutra, it is said that Bhagwan to slashes our ego. Bhavadveshini. Bhagavad Gita is Bhavadveshini. And Hanumanji is telling Vibhishan, you are at least in a human form. He says, Kaho kavan mein param kulina, kapi chanchal sabahi vidihina. He says, what to talk? I have told him without even a family, etc. No? And Kapi, by nature, a monkey, is chanchal. What to talk about human mind? We say it's chanchal, but monkey mind is even worse. Our mind is like a monkey, but a monkey's mind, what would it be, you tell me? Kapi chanchal sabahi vidihina. And as a monkey, what vidhi vidhan would I be knowing? To do proper kind of sadhana or proper worship, etc. But do what you can do. If you can just serve, just serve. And he said, such is our condition that prat lehi jo naam hamara tehi din tahi na milai ahara. Means if the morning you get up saying monkey, not Hanumanji, people translate like that. Some, which means there's a monkey at your door, which means that day you're not going to get your food. I mean, this is something, not a superstition, it's practical. If you get up, oh, monkey at the door, which means your meal is going to be stolen today, Asamay adama sakha sunu mohi par raghubir kina kripa sumira guna bhare bilochana neer. And Hanumanji with tears in his eyes, he says, I am a nobody. I am just a monkey. In fact, escaping with Sugriv. He says, if that Bhagwan could accept a monkey like me, because Bhagwan to just loves whatever you do. But do it with humility and surrender. And God's grace is not dependent on how much you did, but with how much love and sincerity you did. And therefore Hanumanji says, Janatahu as Swami bisari firahi te kahe na hoi dukhari. And such a great Lord Master, if someone forgets in this world, you turn away from light, will you not just see the shadow of your dead body, inert body? Will you not see the darkness of the ego? Therefore, even Guru Arjan Dev Sahib says, how simple is the path to happiness. In his Sukhmani Sahib, Simar Simar Sukha Pava. Bhagavan Krishna says, Mam Anusmara Yudhya Cha. The moment you remember the all-loving, the all-blissful Lord, what your mind turns towards, that your mind receives. So, Janatahu as Swami Bisari, knowing such a great God exists, such a loved one, such a master exists, and still people turn away, then if they're not going to be miserable, not that he curses them or any such thing. You turn away from light, there will be only darkness. So don't think that God has created sorrow. When you turn away from bliss, what you experience is sorrow. Ehi bidi kahat Ram gun grama pava anirvachya vishrama. And having this dialogue, both found such peace in their heart. Then Vibhishan told the whole story and told him also where Janak Sutta, the daughter of Janak Janaki, is. And then Hanuman says to Vibhishan, I want to see Mata Janaki. Yeah? And he tells him how and where he will find Sita. All this dialogue between Vibhishan and Hanumanji is for a devotee, a sadhak, to know what surrender is. And guided by Hanumanji in these few moments, the Shravana Sujasa Suni Ayo, we'll hear later on anyway, in this chapter only. The Tumro Mantra Vibhishana Mana. So what dialogue was going on, but what did Vibhishan understand and what did Vibhishan do? That he became Lankeshwar. Now when Vibhishan told him where Janakasuta is, then Hanumanji very joyfully left from there and he came to Ashok Vatika. And there, Dekhi Manahi Mahkin.
देखि मनहि महु कीन्ह प्रणामा बैठ ही बीती जात निसि जामा कृसतनु
शीस जटाइक बेनी जपति हृदय रघुपति गुण श्रेणी
देखी मन ही महुकीन pranama. When he reached Ashok Vatika, there he saw Sita. And in his mind only, he bowed down to her. Dekhi manahima keen pranama, baithihi biti jat nisi jama. She was sitting there, it is still night. Dawn has still not broken in. It's still night. It looks like she has sat throughout the night as though it was an eon. Sleepless, alert. That is how a devotee lives, vigilant. Krisatanu sees jata ikabeni. Her body had become lean because Lanka had lots of gourmet food. Krisitanu sees jata ikabeni. She's sitting there, lean, and just one plait. Japati Ridhaya Raghupati Gunashreni. In her heart, she is recollecting and recounting the gunas of Bhagwan. Nijpad Nayana Diye Mana Ram Pad Kamalalina Param Dukhi Pavan Sutta Dekhi Janaki Deen. Nijpad Nayana Diye Mana Ram Pad Kamalalina. Her eyes were fixed, not looking here nor there. Was fixed at her own feet. Her vision was at her feet, but her mind was at the feet of Sri Ram. Param dukhi ba pavana sutta dekhi janaki deen. And Pavana Sutta, Hanuman, felt such excruciating sorrow seeing Mata Sita in this condition. Even here, those of you who have studied the Bhagavad Gita, the ladder of fall has been pointed out. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangasteshu Pujayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Bhi Jayate Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha Sammohat Smriti Vibhramaha Smriti Bhramshat Buddhi Nashaha Buddhi Nashat Pranashati. Many times in Hanuman Chalisa I have shown you that how just looking at that deer and that desiring the deer, where Sita fell into the clutches of this 10-headed ego Ravana and had to leave Bharat, the land of knowledge, light, wisdom and bliss, to Lanka, the life of pleasure. And what is the solution? In Bhagavad Gita, where the ladder of fall is pointed out in the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, that how an ignorant person just looking at a sense object and brooding over it falls to the condition that the discrimination is lost and then behaves worse than even an animal and perishes. There before that it is said, Ye tu sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha. Whatever condition we may have landed ourselves right now in, of attachment, sorrows, miseries, entanglements, bondage, that Sita who just saw a deer and brooded over it fell into this condition. What to talk about? Why people are suffering? Why do good people suffer, we ask. But one who has withdrawn all his or her senses, and therefore we need a point of concentration. Because mind will run here, there. And what will he see? Only sense objects. So her vision at her foot, and what signs that are there in her left foot are the signs on the right foot of Ramchandraji. So concentrating only on the feet and her mind on Ramchandraji. Therefore, we need a symbol. That's why we have brought Ram, Sita, Lakshman and Hanumanji. So that when you come and concentrate, and most is that your mind is on that, your mind becomes free of all distraction. And in her mind, she's just reveling on the glories, the virtues, and that endless list of virtues of Ramchandraji. Not just mechanically repeating Ram, 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 Ram. Mukh mein hai Ram Naam, bagal mein hai churi. Allah, 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 and mind is on Sri Ram. This is the condition he sees Sita in. But still he is watchful. Yeah? He thinks before he leaps. He hides in the leaves of the trees and carefully is watching. And that time, we have to leave the story in suspense. No? Thriller. Ravan has woken up early in the morning because he has a sleepless night. He's been thinking about Sita. And morning, all dressed up, coated, booted, suited, with his crown and jewels, and along with his whole retinue of wives. He comes there. And then what happens, we shall tell you tomorrow. Om Purnamada
Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om. This evening's talk has been sponsored by two Yajmans, the Chaitanya family and the Raja family. I would like to invite the Yajmans to come up on stage to receive blessings from Swamiji. The Aarti today has been sponsored by Priya, Bhavin and the Majarya family. And today's Prasad Pustika has been sponsored by Charan and Kirtan Shah. We thank all our sponsors for their generous support. And if you too would like to support efforts to make this knowledge available to all and be a part of this Jnana Yajna, we still have opportunities for the remaining 3 days to sponsor the talks as a Yajman, Aarti or Prasad Pustika sponsor. So today we'd like to share some details about Chinmaya Yuva Kendra, or CHIC UK, which is the youth wing of Chinmaya Mission UK. Pujya Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda, emphasized that it is far more relevant for young people to understand the purpose of life and how to live, rather than contemplating life's big questions in old age when life has largely passed us by. CHIC UK exists to share the timeless knowledge of Vedanta to any and all who seek it, primarily through study classes of different levels for 18 to 35-year-olds. As it's been a little while since I was part of the Yuva Kendra wing, let's hear directly from the CHICs themselves in this video on what it means to them and how they have personally benefited.
What does CHIC mean to you?
Chick to me means a way of life and living in a holistic way that's in line with my bigger purpose.
Thank you.
Chick to me means growing together.
Chick to me means how can I be the best version of myself.
Chick has given me such a broader vision of everything around me and also such a deeper understanding of myself.
Chick has motivated me to find balance in my life.
More fulfillment at work.
Has given me a pillar of strength.
Given me a fresh perspective.
Pujya Swami Swaroopananda said, "Youth are not useless, they are useless. Come along to Chick, that is Chinmaya Kendra, to find a new source of inspiration and dynamism within yourself, to meet with like-minded people and to have fun. I look forward to meeting you there."
Interested? So Chick classes take place every Wednesday evening in person and online, and beginners are most welcome. There are actually lots of young people actively involved with Chick here this evening, and they will be available to answer any questions in the bookshop area on the first floor after this. And not forgetting the teenagers, we also have junior Chick classes for 12 to 17-year-olds. These weekly classes take place on Sunday mornings and include discussion, debates, and interactive workshops to provide an opportunity for teenagers to explore issues that affect their everyday lives, to enable them to tap into their full potential to become dynamic individuals. More information on all our study classes can be found on our website, chinmayauk.org. I'm delighted to share that after virtual events over the past couple of years, we will once again be having in-person global retreats, highly transformative and enriching experiences. This year's Global Chick Camp, entitled Ramayan, Craft Your Character, will be taking place at Chinmaya International Residential School in Coimbatore, India, in the presence of Pujya Swamiji from the 18th to the 24th of December. And for those that might be feeling left out, there will also be a year-end retreat with Pujya Swamiji for all ages at Chinmaya Vibhuti, the Vision Center of Chinmaya Mission, based near Pune, India. The retreat is entitled Gopika Geet, Discover the Truth of the Deepest Love. And this will take place from the 26th of December to the 1st of January. These retreats are incredibly special and unique opportunities. You can register your place on our website or ask any of our sevaks for more information. And by now, I'm sure you'll be aware that this Sunday, 17th of April, we will be celebrating our much-loved annual Hanuman Jayanti event with the chanting of the Hanuman Chalisa. This will take place here on Sunday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and the opportunity is still available to sponsor a Hanuman Chalisa, with all proceeds contributing to the Chinmaya Kirti renovation appeal. You can sponsor through our website or at our bookshop upstairs on the first floor. So these Sundarkand Yagna talks continue tomorrow and take place daily from 7:15 p.m. until Saturday on the final day, in which the talk will start at 10 a.m. There will be bhajans once again from our Swaranjali wing from 7 p.m. onwards tomorrow. And to exit the hall this evening, please wait for the ushers to guide you row by row to ensure a smooth flow. We will now have the Aarti. Hari Om.
आरती श्री हनुमान लला की, आरती श्री हनुमान लला की। दुष्ट दलन रघुनाथ कला की, आरती श्री हनुमान लला की। जाके बल से गिरिवर कांपे, रोग दोष जाके निकट न जापे। अंजनी पुत्र महाबलदाई, संतन के प्रभु सदा सहाय। आरती श्री हनुमान लला की, आरती श्री हनुमान लला की। गोविंदा रघुनाथ पठाए, लंका जारी सिय सुधिलाए। लंक सुकोट समुद्र सिखाए, जात पवन सुत बार न लाई। लंका जारी असुर संहारे, सिया राम जी के काज सवारे। आरती श्री हनुमान लला की, आरती श्री हनुमान लला की। लक्ष्मण मूर्छित पड़े सकारे, आनि सजीवन प्राण उबारे। पैठी पाताल तोरी जमकारे, अहि रावण की भुजा उखाड़े। बाए भुजा असुर दल मारे, दहिने भुजा संत जन तारे। आरती श्री हनुमान लला की, आरती श्री हनुमान लला की। सुर नर मुनि आरती उतारे, जय 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 हनुमान उचारे। कंचन तार कपूर लोछाई, आरती करत अंजना माई। जो हनुमान जी की आरती गावे, बसी वैकुंठ परम पद पावे। आरती श्री हनुमान लला की, आरती श्री हनुमान लला की। आरती श्री हनुमान लला की। ओम न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्रतारकम्, नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयमग्निः। तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं, तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति।
बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय।